And after 6 months on the carnivore diet, he went to another doctor, and the doctor asked him, "Why do you think you have congestive heart failure?" He said, "Well, my other doctor told me I did." So you don't now.
Good morning, good day, and good night wherever you may be. When it comes to managing neurological disabilities, medication and therapy are often the go-to solutions. But what if I told you that there's another crucial factor that can greatly impact the quality of life for individuals living with these conditions? That factor is diet. This is Art Thomas, and I have acquired ataxia, which accelerated my unknown hereditary ataxia. Welcome back to Living with Ataxia.
On the carnivore diet, and it has helped me considerably because it really helps the nervous system, and I highly encourage anyone with a neurological condition to adopt the diet. How do you feel about it?
I think it's the optimal human diet. Carnivore diet, meats or a meat-based diet. The issue that you can encounter with eating things like vegetables and fruits, I mean, there's a host of issues, but it's like a double-edged sword. There are some nutrients in them. They're not the most bioavailable. The most bioavailable nutrients would be in a carnivore diet: steak, chicken, fish, those types of things. But most people fare the best on a carnivore diet or ruminant animals, cows, venison, things like that, elk. There are a lot of things. I think Dr. Paul Saladino said it. He's a proponent of the carnivore diet. There are a lot of things that are in meats that you can't find in plants, but there's nothing in any plant that's essential for human survival that you can't find in meats. So you could go with eating meats exclusively without having any plants, but if you try to do that with plants like vegans do, you end up with all types of problems. They start having bone demineralization, hair loss, weak teeth, loose teeth. They start having all types of problems. There's a host of problems. But like I said, yeah, there's nothing in any animal product that you can pretty much subsist on animal products. You have people that do what they term the lion diet, which is they only eat beef. They only eat cows. That's all they eat: steaks, burgers, those types of things. And they're sufficient. That's a sufficient diet for human existence. When you eat a diet like that has no carbs, and you're getting your energy from fats, your body does a thing where gluconeogenesis, it will create its own carbohydrate source. But you need when you have a diet that's high in plants, vegetarian diet, you're scrounging for sources of protein, because plants are what's called incomplete proteins and meats are complete proteins. So your body needs a complete protein to be able to utilize the amino acids from the protein. And plants, there are no real plants that have, there might be one, tofu maybe, I'm not sure, I don't think so, that have all the essential amino acids for your body to be able to utilize them. But meats do have it. They have all the essential amino acids. Yeah, you need the fats, you need the cholesterol for proper hormone production, proper nervous system functioning. Your brain likes fat as an energy source. Your brain feeds off of fats. It doesn't feed off of fiber or the things you get in plant. And then I use the term bioavailability. The proteins, or let's say the iron or the vitamins that are in a plant, bioavailability means there might be a source that's in there in the plant, but it's not that bioavailable. It's not easy for your body to utilize. The sources of, say, iron or the B vitamins or what have you that are in meats, they're the most bioavailable. They're the easiest for your body to utilize. Yeah, that's when you and in today's world, there are other peripheral issues. There's so many artificial flavors, preservatives, other ingredients that are texture enhancers, you name it, and they're added to almost every food. And then when you look at a lot of the plants that are utilized for mass production, for food sources, they're genetically modified. And I'm not even really up on the effect of GMOs on the human body, but I don't believe there's any long-term research to say what the possible negative effects are to ingesting GMOs. And you don't want to, unless you want to use yourself as a test subject, you don't want to be ingesting things like that. Whereas, conversely, people, for centuries, the cornerstone of their diet, if not the entirety of their diet, has been meat, beef, chicken, fish, eggs, milk, and people have thrived on that. Not only survived, thrived on it. And if they did eat plants, they were survival foods at best, or in addition to their main diet, which was the beef, which was the goat, lamb, fish, eggs, that type of thing. So I mean, you can pretty much thrive, and I'm not saying survive, thrive on a carnivore diet. And you have people like that I find that are good sources of information for the carnivore diet. Dr. Anthony Chaffee, he's a neurologist or a neurosurgeon in Australia. Dr. Sean Baker, an orthopedic surgeon here in America. Dr. Paul Saladino, Dr. Ken Berry. All of these people are proponents of the carnivore diet. They all have medical degrees, and they're all not just surviving, they're thriving. They're not fat, they're not out of shape, they're not lethargic, they don't have these whole hosts of diseases, which I think it's Dr. Chaffee says this a lot, talks about this a lot. A lot of things that we think of today as diseases are not diseases per se. It's not like Ebola. It's not like a pathogen. They're metabolic disorders caused from eating junk food, from eating a host of carbs. I don't think 150 years ago anybody had an issue with gluten or celiac or Crohn's disease. And if you did, you were probably the odd man out because people didn't gorge themselves on those substances. They ate meats. That was the cornerstone of their diet. And they didn't have any problems. When you look back at people over 100, 200 years ago, and the main thing that they ate, they even had their structure of their face with squarer jaws, larger jaws, teeth weren't all misaligned. And you wonder, why are these things all of a sudden, in this day and age, happening? In the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years, obesity, diabetes, atherosclerosis, heart conditions in general, congestive heart failure, all these things have skyrocketed. Why? It's because more and more and more people are eating carbohydrates. You can't go anywhere where you can't get a honey bun or a muffin or something. Carbs. And you might find a meat stick somewhere. And it probably is loaded with preservatives. The things that people thrived on for generations and generations and generations, for thousands of years, have become like a novelty now. The carnivore diet, it's considered like a fad diet, which is idiotic, but it's considered a fad diet when it should be just the way people eat. That's the way people eat. When milk started becoming pasteurized, then you started developing, over the decades, people started developing lactose intolerance. I've actually had a client who we got raw milk from a farm, and she was lactose intolerant, and she could drink the raw milk. So you tell me. Something in the pasteurization process is denaturing that milk, and now it's not the way it originally was. I'm not sure exactly what the damage is from the pasteurization process, but it's doing something to the milk where it's making it not as bioavailable, or it's changing something, or it's destroying some nutrients in there that are essential to the processing of the milk. It's like they'll prescribe, I guess, in clinical doses, vitamin C for certain things. But when you eat an orange, which, the orange has vitamin C in it, but it also has other things. The way things are in nature is the way they're intended to be consumed. So there are things in nature that have sugar in them, but not like white table sugar. It's not the same. It's changed. And back to vitamin C, when you're on a carnivore diet and you're not ingesting all those carbohydrates and that other crap, then your need for vitamin C goes down. Because that was a question like, well, what about scurvy? Are you going to get scurvy not being on the carnivore diet, not ingesting fruit, not ingesting large amounts of vitamin C? You don't need it. You don't need it. Your needs even change. Your cholesterol may go up a little bit, but is it even bad? No. It's not even a bad thing. I mean, you're talking about, like I keep using the words, you're not talking about people surviving on the carnivore diet. They're thriving. They're doing very well, very healthy. There's a thing called coronary artery calcification. It's a test that you can take. I think the best score is a 0. And there are people that are proponents of the carnivore diet. They've been on the carnivore diet for a certain amount of time. They take that, they consistently score like 1, 0, 1. There's, it's very low, which is against what a lot of people that are against it, because they have the traditional view of too much red meat and all this other crap. That's just skewed information. It's not true. And their logic or their thought is, well, if you're eating that much red meat, you're going to make your cholesterol sky high. You're going to give yourself high blood pressure. But no, that turns out to not be the case. That is not true. It's not borne out in the evidence. And there are many people that have gotten on the carnivore diet that are curing all types of lifestyle ailments: eczema, psoriasis, leaky gut, Crohn's, celiac, diabetes, particularly type 2. I'm not sure about type 1. That's what you're born with. Or you can be born with. Maybe there's somebody on that too. I don't know. But yeah, there's all hosts of. There was a guy. You can find him on YouTube. I can think of his name. Anyway, he has a whole series of videos where he talks about how, and he was up into his 40s, he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and the doctor told him that's not supposed to be reversible. And after 6 months on the carnivore diet, he went to another doctor, and the doctor asked him, "Why do you think you have congestive heart failure?" He said, "Well, my other doctor told me I did." So you don't know. Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson, 2 big name proponents of the carnivore diet. She had some form of arthritis that was so bad, juvenile arthritis, that her hip and her ankle had to be replaced at 17. And she went through a series of self-experimentation, lactose-free, paleo, whatever. And she finally hit on the carnivore diet. And that has literally cured all of her ailments, even her depression, lifted her depression. She has no more, she's on no more meds. She's got no more doctors. She's fine. This can't all be anecdotal, and it's not placebo. Some things can be aided or helped by placebo effect, but not everything. Things aren't just magically cured by it because you think about it. Any other questions?
When we were at the Bird of a Feather, which was part of the conference, a lady asked why she is always tired, and you said you need more meat, and she said she only eats salad. What do you say about that?
It's the exact opposite of what she should be doing. Salad is a waste of time and money. Let the rabbits and whatever else eat the salad, and then you eat the rabbit. If there's any nutrition to be gleaned from it, you get it from the rabbit. Yeah, she's like most people you encounter. I mean, 20 years ago, I used to believe this shit. It's garbage. Excuse my language. I used to believe it. It's such garbage. But when you really start investigating things, you start realizing how many things that you take for granted that you just accept, that you never really questioned or you never really investigated or looked into or researched. And the more I started doing personal training part-time as an adjunct to I was a chiropractic assistant. And the more you start investigating and looking into things, the more you start seeing that so many things that you thought they're generally accepted dogma are wrong. They're just wrong. And the information is terrible. Like it's god awful. The way people, don't eat too much red meat. It causes heart disease, causes plaque buildup in your arteries. That one they've actually done studies on for the last 20 or 30 years. There's not even a correlation between high consumption of red meat and heart disease. That one's been put to rest, or it should be put to rest by now. But it just goes to show you how far-reaching the bad information is. People still hold to it dogmatically. When we went to the Ataxia conference in Orlando, and that one doctor, MD, was on stage and said that beans were a good source of protein. They're good for your nervous system. and he had to kick in that he was a vegan. It's ludicrous. It's insane that an MD would think that. But there is such a disconnect between the medical community, it seems, and nutritional information. It's kind of like, I'm a heart doctor. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. That's what I know. That's it. That's all I know. There's no crossover. There's no, it's just weird. You would think generally the average person would probably think like, well, they're a doctor. They know about nutrition. No, they don't. They're woefully ignorant about that. And your body's a closed system. It can only operate on what you put in it. So, if you can work out, do whatever you want. If you're eating Snickers bars and Doritos, you're probably not gonna be that healthy. It's just people like her. It's almost like, I feel sorry for her. I can't fault her. She doesn't know. She's been fed the usual BS, and mainstream media is a god awful place for information for anything. They peddle those age-old stereotypical BS lines about red meat, about getting so many cups of vegetables a day. Just garbage advice. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, I'm on this diet and have not suffered anything from cholesterol. It really has helped. Even my knee pain. Like I said, I broke my femur and I've always had knee pain. My knee pain isn't gone, but it definitely decreased by just this diet.
Yeah, I could say, having gone on the carnivore diet, and I'm my own best test subject, so I will do self-experimentation. I've gone on the carnivore diet for a year, got off of it. When I went on the carnivore diet, within a week, I noticed snore less, sleep improved. I was starting to get almost sleep apnea-like symptoms, where I'd wake up multiple times throughout the night and be aware that I was waking up. So it was giving me broken sleep, so I could lay in the bed for 9 hours and still feel like trash in the morning, like I wasn't fully rested. Carnivore diet improved my sleep. Definitely, they say one of the first things is it starts to powerfully eliminate inflammation, systemic inflammation, specific inflammation in a certain joint. I noticed within 4 or 5 days from, you said like old injuries, that the injury to this shoulder and this knee, gone. Like not better, gone. Like I just noticed like, wow, that's not there anymore. More energy, like a sustained energy throughout the day. And it takes a while to, it's not instant. It takes a while. It can take months for more and more of the effects of the carnivore diet to take place in your body. You figure you've been abusing yourself for decades. You didn't get there in a day, and it's not going to happen in a day. But you do notice a lot of things pretty quickly. I noticed weird things. No bad breath, no body odor. I didn't have to use the bathroom as much, but it's called waste for a reason, because it's a waste. And the carnivore diet is more efficient. Your body is utilizing much, much more of what you eat, as opposed to eating breads and pastas and grains and plants. You're wasting a lot of it. So, it's unnecessary. But I did notice when I went off the carnivore diet and started eating more of the other foods, all of those things, the joint pain in the shoulder and the knee, the bad breath in the morning breath, the crash in the middle of the day where I needed to feel like I needed to take a nap, all that stuff came back, rushing back. And maybe it's because I had been away from it, but it seemed like it was twice as bad. And now that I'm starting to go back to a meat-based diet, I feel better. Everything is better. Everything is better. Every little ache, pain, the brain fog, the headachiness that I might, sometimes I would feel like I had a headache, almost like I was mildly dehydrated. If you get that feeling, like all that stuff kind of just went away. And it's kind of like you just wake up one day, as you're going along further and further on the carnivore diet, you just wake up and realize, wow, that doesn't hurt anymore. Wow, I don't have that anymore. Wow, I swear I don't have any like tests or anything to prove it. I swear my eyesight got better. because I can see everything fine, but it's really close up that I have an issue with. I started having an issue with the last couple of years, and I swear that got better. Everything, every marker of health and day-to-day health and activities was improved. Everything I can think of, everything. More energy, better energy. Even my mood was lifted a little bit. And for lack of a better description, I did feel lighter. And I was losing body fat and not even trying. And I didn't change anything else but going from a standard American diet to the carnivore diet. I didn't change anything else. Workout routine stayed the same, everything. Everything was the same.
Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you or a loved one experienced the benefits of a specialized diet for neurological health? Be sure to share your thoughts and experiences, and don't forget to check out our upcoming videos, where we'll be sharing some practical tips for implementing the carnivore diet for neurological health.